Melvin Wright says, I want to double down on my comment from last week about Nas' promotion of KD3. Social media is free promotion, and since October 18th, they haven't said anything else about the album. They should have a countdown or something. Now, I can't disagree with that. What is stopping them from actually doing a KD3 countdown? Cool.
I mean, first of all, I mean, it's the second, so they have 9 days. I don't know for certain. I have been speaking with the source still, but it's been on some peace shit. You know what I'm saying? We were actually having a relationship convo literally right before the show started with some other people, just about how the game goes. It's tied to some rappers and some industry shit too. It's all about the music, really, at the end of the day. But this is part of what I keep stressing again, Mike. Why does Nas, after 30 years in this game, and being the author of Illmatic, It Was Written, I Am, The Lost Tapes, Godson, Stillmatic, Life Is Good, Distant Relatives, KD 2, and Magic. Why does that guy need to do anything? Because here's what I'm trying to tell you. It's like, oh no, when the Rolling Stones go on tour, Mike, everybody in their fan base know and jump behind. When you get what I'm saying, that's what I'm talking about, even with the streaming conversation. Now, I feel like we finally got somewhere with the streaming conversation, last week with it, but it's like, it's Nas. Like, what? It's Nas. Like, what is he supposed to do? I'll tell you what I do know.
I got an answer for that. Go ahead.
Let me finish. It's like, Mike, like Benny got a song with Nas. You know that, right? You know Benny the Butcher got a song with Nas, right?
Okay. On KD3?
Did you know that? No, not on KD3. Like, they been did a song together that ain't never seen the light of day.
Nah, I didn't know.
Yeah, Benny, they got the record. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, oh, no. The people that love Nas can be getting behind Nas and making shit happen. Like, here's what I've been finding out. It's like, oh, no. All these niggas got records with Nas. Why ain't the industry getting behind Nas? It's like, everybody know KD3 coming.
What is the thing? We know the industry, is what it is. And, we see it in the publications and how they write about Nas whenever anything comes out. But this countdown and this promotion isn't for the core fans per se, because the core fans are going to support, like you said with the Rolling Stone thing. It's actually for the masses, you know what I'm saying? And those are the things that you kind of gotta, build up some level of anticipation for. I mean, even political candidates got to go out there and shake hands and kiss babies. I think Obama's out here on the campaign trail right now. Like, you got to go do the work. It is what it is, and let people know what's coming. And I don't think anybody's absolved of that, especially at this point in the game. Because Tom Brady, even though he's Tom Brady, he's the greatest quarterback of all time, he's still got to go out there on Sunday and actually win the games. They're not going to just walk him into the Super Bowl. It is what it is.
So here's what I would tell you to that. We kind of spoke to that some in the sense that it's like, well, when media entities ask him, or the conversations occur between he and his team about, doing the spots and doing the promotional runs that people are talking about, they want to talk about her and they want to talk about him, and they don't want to talk about the music.
No. I don't think that he was talking about that. Not to cut you off. I think he was talking about things on, like, from a social media standpoint, like on Nas's Instagram page or on Hit Boy's Instagram page. They posted those gold bars or whatever, and we hadn't really seen anything since. So with 9 days left.
When did that happen?
Huh?
When did that happen?
That happened last week.
Like, no, what day? Because I feel like that happened on Friday.
I think it was Friday. I think it was last Friday.
Okay, so here we are on Wednesday. So, like, this is what I mean. Okay,
that's
so
what I'm saying. But a countdown to, for the people who might not have saw that. You know what I mean? It's like with social media, you can't just really post one thing and that's it. I mean, you kind of have to keep it rolling. I mean, if you got 9 days left, you got 9 posts. That's it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
No, I've been seeing a little bit of something on my Twitter almost like every day. I don't know how the whole team work, Mike. Like I'm only talking to one person,
No, no,
so
I
it's
feel
like
you. I'm not asking for your insight. I'm just giving my opinion to answer
no, no, no.
what,
I get no, no,
Eric
no,
was
and
saying.
I get what you're saying. So let's play devil's advocate and say that it's like okay, he needs to do a press run.
I don't
Let's
think
play.
let's leave press out of it. Let's just say
Okay,
things that they can control because we've already covered the fact that when it comes to press and him, they want to ask about stuff that don't even matter with the music. You know what I mean?
right.
Let's just let's just keep it to their social medias, their team, whether it be Mass
Right.
Appeal, Hit Boy, Nas.
Yeah, all the
What can
above.
they do in these 9 days to get? I mean, because we're gonna jump on everything that we see anyway. But the people who aren't in their cycle, what can they do on their social medias to get everybody else anticipating this?
Um, I don't have a true answer for you. Just to be totally forthright and honest with you, I don't have a real what I would like to call viable answer or explanation to give you. But what I will tell you is this: like the way social media works now, Mike, and how fast that it happens. It only takes one or two things to kill a cycle. Now look at what just happened to Takeoff.
Yeah,
Do you think that in a time when something like that is happening and the release date is already be set, do you think it's wise to do promo maybe yesterday or today?
that's fair. That's
You,
fair.
you you get what I'm saying? So when you're asking me that question today, and we're living in the day-to-day social media culture that we are, and Takeoff just passed away, and that literally is the story.
Yeah,
I personally think, just me as a hip hop fan, and Mike, I don't know about you, I cried when Takeoff died. Like I'm tired of this shit.
yeah.
Yeah, I am. I'm tired of this shit. Like on every level, I'm fucking tired. Like I'm over it.
I
But
I don't even think it's really hit me yet. You know what I mean? Like I'm
oh no,
still
it
in
hit me and it
disbelief.
hit me hard. It got me evaluating some of the personal business moves I planned on making about not living in this country. It hit me on a level of how I've been dealing with Talib and Lupe and the vitriol that I've been giving back that they have given. And I know that I'm a better person than they are because I know that they are blinded by a lot of the bullshit that they're around, whether they want to admit it or not. And I need to start behaving that way. It's got me thinking about the people I haven't talked to the last few months because I've been going through a breakup and going through a thing. It has me thinking about all those things, him passing. And so when I think about it affecting me like that, has 41 at 41 years old being a what I would like to call a small time independent media personality in this. I'm pretty certain that Nas and Nas's team is looking at it. It's like if we were planning on doing something in these 2 or 3
Right.
days, it is probably best for us business wise to go ahead and quell all that because even the talk with the source, which has been today, nothing to do with Nas or KD. I told you, like she and I and a couple other people were having a relationship talk. Mostly my poor choices in women at times, Mike. If you really want to know the truth, like right before I got on, I was talking about my poor choices in women, and I will always choose the prettiest girl in the room. It ends up doing. Never mind, Mike. Never mind.
Jay Short with the super
I
chat
mean, talking
says.
about Nas today.
Jay Short says Talib sounds like a Tipper Gore from the '90s. Let's see. Michael Williams with the super chat says, "Have you ever heard anything about Migos slash Future having issues? They both arguably impacted the sound of rap more than any other artist in the past 10 years, but they only have one song together." I always wondered those things too. I think it just never really worked out. I'm sure they got a lot of unreleased stuff, and I know that Future tweeted out, that Takeoff is legendary. He tweeted that out today, I think it was. So I don't think there's ever been any issues. LP with the super chat says Nas has been rapping for 30 years. He hasn't talked gangsta since 2002. There's still another 20 years of Nas not doing it. Prodigy never stopped.
No, that's not true. Like, listen to Life is Good. Go listen to Stay.
You think Stay is gangster?
Listen to what he's saying.
36 Chambers says Talib is a conscious rapper, consciously hating. Let's just keep it a buck, man. For whatever reason, man, Talib, I don't want to say for whatever reason. That Drink Champs conversation that Ye had in episode 1 or the first time around really got to Talib, man. Like once Kanye said something about his hats, and his
Mike,
rapping, he hasn't been able
listen,
to get off of it.
it's very personal. It's petty. We need
It's
to all
very
move past.
personal.
But this
Like,
is to quote my man on his birthday, Mike, there's a war going on outside. No man is safe from. You can run, but you can't hide forever. Mike, from these streets that they done took. You walking with your head down, scared to look. You shook. Cause ain't no such thing as halfway crooks. They never around when the beef cooks.
yeah, man, Prodigy was something different, man. That's not gangster rap, man.
That's not gangster, Mike. That's cautionary tale. Let me know what
Right.
time it is, Mike. Mike, listen, I can speak to that in a religious aspect of God versus the devil. There's a war going on outside. No man is safe from. You can run, but you can't hide forever from these streets that we done took. You walking with your head down, scared to look. You shook. Mike, I could give you a spiritual dissertation on the breakdown of that. Don't tell me Prodigy's a gangster rapper.
Leroy Green, what up,
Listen,
Leroy? He says, when the smoke clears, gangster rap will be dying, literally, and conscious rap will offer a
listen to
path
this.
forward and love. I say, I love gangster rap, but still, I'm going to tell you this. I think that when it comes to hardcore rap music, let's just say it like that, because I do think there is a such thing as hardcore rap music. The energy that it brings off and the chakras that it ignites, it's undeniable. It's just not going anywhere. I mean, they're going to continue to push that on a high, massive, you know, in industry level. The conscious stuff sonically just doesn't do to people what those songs do. From a chakra sense. I mean, you see when people play Knuck If You Buck, they're going crazy 20 years later. I mean, even if we play I Don't Like right now, and you know, when you're older, you play this stuff in the gym. But you know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like the people who are, you know, still going out, this shit hits them on a different level, man. They not riding out to the light. They're not. I know y'all would like for that to be the truth, but it's not. It's never
So
gonna
this
happen.
is so this is so this is what I have to submit to you about that. Don't believe the hype, like Public Enemy said. A lot of these quote unquote conscious rappers, well, they believe the hype about their consciousness more than the gangster rappers believe the hype about their gangster rap isms. You get what I'm saying?
Talib's
And
a
you really
DJ. You think he ain't never played no Chief Keef in a set?
who?
Talib, he's a DJ. You think that he ain't never sat there and listened to no Lil Jon or something like that and was like turned up
See,
with
that's what I
everybody
mean, and
else?
he's doing himself such a disservice. There's room for I'm gonna tell you what Anthony Hamilton told me one time when I met him. There's room for all of us on the stage, brother.
Definitely.
There's room for all of us on the stage.
Melvin Wright with the super chat says, "Coop, people have to know that he has material coming out. Not necessarily him promoting, but he has a team. Where are they?"
That's what I mean. Takeoff just passed, and that's a pretty major thing, especially seeing how they just dropped the album. They are culturally relevant to a younger generation and demographic that streams music heavily. Listen to what I'm saying. They are part of a younger demographic and generation that streams music heavily. And so if Nas's team has been focal point, because the focal point is not quality of albums, the focal point is not GOAT talk. I'm going to tell you just like this, Mike. And I think I said this to you behind the scenes, and I'm going to say it live now. Serena Williams just retired. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
For many of us that saw her play, she's the greatest tennis player ever. Not just male or female, period. Mike, 50 years from now, because we're the same age, when she's 90, she's going to be alive. I just feel that. When she's still alive, Mike, we're going to be able to walk into that trophy case room and you'll be able to see the evidence that she was arguably the greatest tennis player ever. Like, there's going to be evidence. There's going to be all the trophies hanging on the wall. There's the Wimbledon, French Open, Australian Open, and U.S. Open trophies as a singles player. They're the doubles trophies with her sister Venus. There's all the ATP titles for being the number one ranked player at the end of the year. Like all these other smaller accolades and awards, like her trophy case is sick, Mike. It's as sick as anybody's ever been in the history of professional sports. And when we are gone and not able to talk about her as the greatest tennis player of all time, you want to know what she's going to have as evidence?
Yeah.
The trophies, the trophy case. There is not an all-time great MC that has a trophy case as bare as Nas's, and that's what this is about. Tupac don't have this issue. Biggie don't have this issue. Jay don't have this issue. If you want to throw Eminem into this conversation, for those that feel the way, don't have this issue, Mike.
Yeah.
We're all saying that he's the GOAT. We're not going to live forever. The trophies need to be in the motherfucking case. Why don't niggas understand that shit? Illmatic being in your motherfucking digital download or in your CD case or on your vinyl. No. That nigga needs a plaque that says that Illmatic went diamond. Don't y'all understand that? Why do people not understand that?
I don't know. I think
Serena
what it
Williams'
is.
trophy case, Mike,
I don't think it's the
be
fact that
greatest tennis
people.
player. Her trophy case looked better than Federer, Nadal's, and Djokovic. She got them doubles titles, Mike.
I feel you.
Trophy
I
case
don't think
looks
it's
sick.
a thing that people don't understand. I think that
No, they don't, Mike.
it's
No,
one
they
of
don't.
those
Not the way
things.
niggas been talking to me
No,
behind the scenes. It's like, no, they don't.
Let me finish.
No, they don't.
I
They want
think
Nas to be the people's champ forever. We're all going to die. We're on trophy case shit.
this is what I was gonna say. I think that they're just like, what else can I do? Because I mean, the fans are supporting to the level that they know how. I mean, they love.
I
Nas's
get that.
music.
Hold on.
And it's like
hold on. Listen
you
what
can't.
you said,
What
Mike,
can
that
they do?
know how. I've been trying to explain to people the new know-how, and people been looking at me. It's like, but we need the team to do that. It's like, no. The team needs y'all to understand that this is not 1994. You're not going to the store to buy Illmatic. Yo, this is what I'm
Well,
saying,
I
Mike.
think
When you
the
post on,
answer
hold
is
on,
to
if you're a
get
Nas
more.
fan, Mike, no, let me finish. If you're a Nas fan, like, you post Nas on your Instagram post, like when you're using the music for effects, or on Twitter, like, are you using his songs? Are you using whatever's current or whatever's popping and trending? Like, do you really stream The World Is Yours? Or do you just play it from your download that you already have that really doesn't help him? It helps you feel nostalgic about the greatest MC of all time, whose trophy case don't look like Tupac, Biggie, and Jay-Z's trophy case, quite frankly. It just don't.
But what does the
In
trophy
terms of
case look
sales and
like?
the numbers. I don't know what part of this is so difficult.
But what does the trophy case look like for when physical records were being sold? You know what I'm saying? Because again, the streaming era is some tricky stuff.
Mike,
And
this
I
is
don't
exactly
even believe
why
the
he didn't
streaming
make.
numbers.
No, listen to what I'm saying. This is why he didn't make Illmatic again.
Well, this
Because
is
the
what I'm gonna
numbers didn't
say.
make sense.
I'm gonna
The
be
numbers
one,
on It Was Written in I Am made sense though. Yeah, they did.
I'm gonna be 100% honest here. Drake and 21 Savage are dropping Friday. Drake's first week numbers are always crazy, and so KD3 is dropping the week after that. I don't think it would be fair to compare the two first weeks. I just don't. I mean, I could be wrong, but normally, whenever Drake comes out with something, the numbers are crazy.
Hold on.
And his
Listen to what
second
I'm
week's
saying.
probably
So
going to
stop.
be crazy too.
So stop. This is the only genre of music that he happens in. Is he the greatest MC of all time in your opinion?
No,
No. I mean Nas. Is Nas the greatest MC of all time in your
I
opinion?
think he's proven that. Yes.
Okay. This is exactly what I'm saying. If he's the greatest MC of all time, the fan base needs to act like it. Like, when I mean the fan base, I don't mean the core fan base. I mean hip hop needs to act like it. It's like, no, here's the reality of the matter. I hate to break this to people. Drake hasn't made a great album in a very long time, Mike. Matter of fact, Nas has made about 4 great albums since Drake made a great album. Okay? 21 Savage, as much as I love 21, when the last project you felt like 21 made was even close to considered to being a classic?
I mean, I think Savage Mode is his best work. The first one.
When is that? 2017?
Yeah.
2016?
Yeah, I think that's
2017.
16. No, it's 16.
2017.
It's an album of 17. Yeah. Yes, that's
17.
16.
Mike, so he's 5 years removed from his best work. Drake is 10 years from his
6.
6 years removed from his best work. Drake is at least 10 years removed from his best work. And you are telling me that because of who they are in this business, that they're supposed to be doing better numbers than Nas, who's the greatest MC of all time on the musical run that he's run on. That doesn't make sense on any level. Not on a music level, not on an artist level. And that's exactly where I started understanding what the source was talking about. It's too much of, Drake and 21 are dropping. I'm thinking to myself, it's like, well, 21 ain't dropped the classic in 6 years. Drake ain't got to drop the classic in 10 years. Nas, who is our greatest MC, just dropped 2 classics last year, and we are talking about Drake and 21's album. Why? Now we're fucking up, not the team. Now the team going to do some sort of rollout. Mike, the rollout is probably going to start, and be based off of how they see Drake and 21 numbers go. Because I'll tell you what, just as a businessman, somebody with a business degree, like for me, I wouldn't do any rollout until I saw 21 and Drake's numbers, because most like you and most people think, oh, well, they're supposed to do crazy numbers. And if they don't do crazy numbers, I would minimize the Nas rollout, because what the fuck are you shooting for if Drake and 21 aren't going to do those numbers? Because apparently being the greatest MC of all time and making 2 classic albums arguably last year isn't enough.
Well, I don't think rap skills in this genre have ever really sold the records. I mean, I think we know that singles sell the records, and I think that to play the singles game on a mainstream level now, I mean, you got to play the radio game, you got to play the TV game, your stuff got to be in movies, and just all over the place. And I think where the disconnect is, to sell a lot of records in hip hop, you kind of have to sell to people who aren't actually hip hop fans. That is exactly why Eminem has sold so many records. You know what I'm saying? And that's why his records look so different from everybody else. I mean, we were just highlighting a song that went diamond or did crazy numbers that no one even knew the title to. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't think that your sales are a reflection of your skill set in this genre. And that's the weird thing. Like, my favorite hip hop albums, and I know it sucks for the artists to hear these things, are the albums that didn't really sell a lot. No, I don't know how much the Low End Theory sold. I don't really know how much the Only Built for Cuban Link sold.
It's not, I mean, to some degree, that's not true. Okay, so first of all, if I'm not mistaken, the Low End Theory did go platinum.
Did it?
Eventually, I think so. Cuban Link sold 700,000 copies his first year. It came out in the summertime. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Doing 700 copies when you come out in August? Yeah, that's pretty great in 1995. Okay. So like when you're saying these albums are sold, it's like, well, Mike, you love The Chronic. That's 4 million. Doggy Style is 5 million.
The Chronic and Doggy Style.
Ready to Die is 1.5, Mike. You like those albums.
No, I love those albums. But
you want to get Ice Cube, double platinum both times with America's Most and Death Certificate, I believe. No, those albums sold, Mike.
Yeah.
They did. Some of your favorite rap albums have sold.
What about The Fix? What about The Fix? And honestly,
what it should have did.
When you look at the Blueprint, I feel like the Blueprint's probably one of Jay-Z's lesser sold albums.
Blueprint should have did 5 million, not Volume 2. Correct.
I don't think so. I mean, listen, the Blueprint's clearly the better album, but we know what sells albums and its songs. And Volume 2 had the hit singles. It had Can I Get It? It had Jigga What, Jigga Who? It had Hard Knock Life. It had Money and the Thing. That one's going to sell more. Like, I could have listened to both of those albums and told you, yes, this Blueprint album's better. But if we're talking about which one's going to sell more, it's this one over here.
No, this is what people don't understand, and I think people still don't hear what I'm saying. Every box in his career has been covered. People do understand that, right? Like, you're following, right? Like, are you following? Are you following his career? Like you're ahead, so you follow Nas's career. You feel like there are some guys that I feel like if you're ahead, even if you're not the fan, you kind of follow, semi-follow, because they're so great. Ice Cube, Scarface, Jay, Nas. So this is what I'm saying. The only thing missing is
the hardware. Let me get to these super chats real quick.
Why do people not understand that? Nobody's saying he hasn't had a wonderful career.
I don't think people
have to understand all this. No. All this rhetoric of him being the GOAT needs to match in the trophy case. That's it. Plain and simple. If you were in his shoes, you would want the same thing. Mike, I'm competitive. I understand exactly what the fuck is going on. It's the same reason Kobe didn't want Shaq in LA anymore. It's like, No, nigga, he's like, I'm the co-pilot on 3 rings. He's like, I need to be the main on a couple of these rings to get in the conversation. I'm not gonna, like, we're gonna end up with 7 rings together, but it's his 7 rings. I don't want to be the co-pilot on his 7 rings. I'm outside the top 10 as a co-pilot on that. I need my own hardware. He ain't had no hardware since it was written I am, Mike. That was when we were in high school.
36 Chambers says, how do we juxtapose Nas not having a rollout with Black Star not doing one? We took them down a notch for that. How do we feel about Nas? KD3 is obviously bigger, of course, and quality goes a long way. I think we're going to get some singles from the album, and I think people are going to have access to it, so I think that's a little different.
Oh, here we go with this shit again. It's like, okay, I'm going to stop talking about it because I don't think people get what I'm saying still. It's like y'all want Nas to be something that maybe Nas and his team don't want him to be remembered for. It's like he doesn't want to be remembered as the people's champion. He wants to be remembered as the champion because that's what he is. Stop this fucking people's champ talk shit. He's the champ, period. You
Michael
feel me?
Williams.
It's like talk about the nigga like he's Ali. And stop talking about the nigga like he's the local nigga from your hood that was the best fighter in your neighborhood. It's like, you know, the illest nigga from our neighborhood ever, right? It's like, yeah. Muhammad Ali will whoop that nigga ass, though. Talk about him like he's Ali.
Michael Williams with the super chat says, Coop, I was wondering if your Nas source ever touched on why he dropped Magic as a surprise album. Did she say if Nas noticed the media ignoring it?
I literally have said, this is what I mean about how people do not listen. I've literally said multiple times on this show since I've talked to the source that Magic was made in a week specifically for fans who were clamoring for him to go to an Illmatic, just straight up MCing style of rhyming that he has not done, that they still clamor for. I've said this multiple times. This is what I mean about.
It might not have been in the room.
I mean, no, I've said it multiple times. Like our shit circulates. We get over 100,000 downloads a month, Mike. Like just on YouTube, we get over 100,000 views a month. That's not counting the Spotify, the Apple streams. No. I've been saying this repeatedly because this is what I'm talking about. People be like, oh, no. It's not like that. It's like, yes, it is. I just said that.
Speaking of those numbers, if anybody wants to advertise with us on this podcast, make sure you email info@accordingtohiphop.com. Again, that's info@accordingtohiphop.com. Man, if anybody has a contact at Facebook where I can actually talk to a real person, hit us up at info@accordingtohiphop.com too. Because I got to holler at them people at Facebook. They be, it's nothing but robots over there.
Don't people know there's no such thing as bad publicity? But like, even the conversation right now that's being had about all of this isn't normally even the type of rhetoric that's centered around a Nas album. Don't people understand that? Like, don't y'all play chess at all? And like, understand that it's like a Nas album is dropping and we're talking about numbers. You want to know why we're talking about numbers? Because we never talk about numbers when we talk about Nas. We always talk about what he does for the culture and how he's the greatest MC of all time and how much we love him. It's like, okay, well then be able to shift your focus. Because here's what I know, Mike. Rafael Nadal's my favorite player. Mike, he's my favorite player when he plays on hard courts at the Australian Open. He's my favorite player when he plays on clay courts at the French Open. He's my favorite player when he plays on grass at Wimbledon. You feel what I'm saying? No matter the surface, no matter the task, no matter what he's up against, whether he's the favorite or not. Oh, I'm behind Rafael Nadal 100% when he's stepping into a major because he's who I put my money behind. You feel me? I know if he's stepping into the French, oh, that's where you should really put your money. But because he's my guy, Mike, I still put my money with him on the Australian and on Wimbledon and definitely the U.S. Open. You feel me?
I feel you. LP with the super chat says, cool. It's that Nas means more to his fans than the numbers, than superficial metrics. They care about the quality only. Nas is responsible for that. Melvin,
no,
right?
He's not. No, he's not responsible for that, Mike. He's already given us plenty of classic albums. He's not responsible for giving us more classic material. Like, no, he's not. You get what I'm saying about how the fans like get these unfair expectations? It's like, no, it's the quality of the material. If you don't shut up with that artsy shit, it's like, have you been like, let's have a real conversation. Do you want to know why we don't need to talk about this music? You know why we don't need to talk about the music on KD3?
Wow. It's a given.
KD 1, 2, and Magic, Mike.
Melvin Wright with the super chat
Why are we
says,
questioning him musically if he's the greatest MC of all time and he's on this run? You want to talk about if the music gonna be good? You shouldn't be worried about that. I think we know what the music gonna sound like, Mike.
they on a roll. Melvin Wright with the super chat says, how can the fans support something they know nothing about? Take off death aside. There hasn't been a post on social media since October 18th. Hit
That's
Boy
not
with
true.
the golden bars was only on his page.
First of all, that doesn't even make any sense when you say there hasn't been a post since the 18th, and then you bring up Hit Boy posting the gold bars on his page.
Well, he's talking about a post on Nas's page.
No, Mike. Who's the executive producer of KD3? You see how people be talking stupid? Like that is some dumb shit to
But
say.
they want to
It's
see
like,
it
well,
on
they haven't
Nas's
promoted
page.
anything. The executive producer of the album did a post on Friday.
But they want to see Nas post something. It's his album.
And when do you see that shit? That's what I'm saying. It's like, when do you see that? Like, I follow Nas like on Instagram, Mike. I don't see him post shit like that. That is what everybody else. He's Nas. Do you see Jay post shit like that, Mike?
Well, that's what I'll say. Last album Jay put out was 444. He had like all these fours around the city of New York. And again, this is 2017. Social media was popping, but I think it's at a different level now. There's a lot of things you can do. But so he did have a promotional run, and he actually built some sort of allure to that effort and its release. So there was some level of a promotional run without doing media. I think he did that one interview with the New York Times. That was it. But what I was gonna say is, wouldn't it be kind of cool? Like, we got 9 days left, like kind of revealing song titles a day,
Okay.
or revealing pieces of the album cover or things of that nature. Well, I mean, we got the album cover, but like the back cover and like maybe different songs, and maybe a Wheel of Fortune type of thing.
Can
I mean,
I
there's,
ask you something,
there's a
Mike?
lot
Can
of
I ask
things
you
that could be
something?
done.
No, can I ask you something?
Sure.
Realistically, if Jay-Z did a commercial with LeBron James for Nike 2 weeks before we knew his album was coming out, would we say he wasn't doing enough promotion? Like, and I'm saying this to you, and I'm just gonna question you a little bit, and I mean this as gently as possible, Mike. When you say that, you're kind of being part of the problem and making the point for me. It's like he just did a whole national TV ad with the greatest basketball player of this generation, and and literally the tag behind it is defeating Father Time. And the only two people standing in the picture with Father Time are Nas and LeBron James. And you all think he needs to do more promotion. This is what I'm talking about. If that was Jay-Z, the promotion would be done and we would be good. Mike, you know better. You cannot tell me that I'm wrong for that. If Jay just popped out and did that one spot at 30 years in the game, if Jay pops out and does that one LeBron James spot, that is all that the people need to get fueled behind the album. Tell me that I'm wrong.
Let's look at Jay-Z's last two albums, right? The Holy Grail. You remember he had that commercial like right before the 4th of July. I want to say it was like All-Star Weekend or something. Was it baseball? Something like that.
Right.
The major spots he had all of the producers in there. Like, those are the things that are kind of getting people energized about the music, which was a big letdown in my personal opinion. But I'll say this to say this. I'm saying that to say this. I think if he would have posed with LeBron, I don't think that would have been the only thing he did. Now, I ain't saying that we're not going to see anything. Like you said, Takeoff's unfortunate demise and passing, I'm sure out of sensitivity and out of just being a human being, you just want to pause on a lot of things. I hope we do see something in the upcoming weeks that kind of gears people up for the album. And again, I mean, people's attention spans in today's era, they're just small. You know what I'm saying? So you have to do things, even though you shouldn't have to do these things. Like you said, they've earned this and they're on a roll. They shouldn't have to do these things, but you still have to.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, hold on, this is what I'm saying. So Leroy, hold on, somebody just put 444 had a Sprint deal, if I remember correctly. You're right. 444 had a Sprint deal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sprint is the United States. Nike is global. He just did a commercial with a global brand with one of sports' biggest global figures. So what I'm trying to tell you is that he just promotional wise did anything bigger than what Jay did for 444, and y'all are saying that it's not enough. He just did a commercial with one of the world's biggest global brands, with one of the world's biggest global icons, and y'all are sitting up here saying he needs to do more and trying to talk about how Jay had Sprint for 444. That's Nike. Mike, let's go ahead and put it on a scale. Nike globally or Sprint globally? Nike.
But when
LeBron
you,
James globally. Like, you get what I'm
I feel
saying?
what
So
you're
what? So,
saying, but
so it's
honestly,
no. This is part of the problem,
let
Mike,
me.
and you're gonna let me finish this because you kind of contributed to the problem with your rhetoric. That's what I'm saying. Like, because you're like, oh well, Jay, this. It's like Jay did nothing as big as this, and we were all in heavy anticipation. Right.
Well, no, Jay had the whole. All right, if we go back to Holy Grail,
He
he
did
had the
nothing as
whole.
big as doing
And
a spot for Nike with LeBron for 444. That is a fact.
I hear what you're saying, Coop, but that's Nike. It honestly doesn't really translate in the music in the way that,
Yes, Mike,
in
Nike's
the
gonna
way that.
translate the music, Mike. That is a lie,
No,
Mike. You are
listen. Let
lying
me,
right
Coop.
now.
Let me finish.
That is a lie. Nike
Coop.
doesn't translate the music, Mike.
Coop. How do we stream our music? Our cellular phone service, right?
Mike, who buy Nike?
Cool,
Who
cool.
buy Nike in
I hear
America,
what
Mike?
you're saying. Look, let me put it in these terms. Doing a deal with Sprint is honestly like a nigga doing a deal with a Sam Goody back in the day. They're actually, or Best Buy, they're actually selling the CDs. The deals that Jay is doing, that Jay was dealing with for these individual albums were directly reflections of streaming. Sprint, cell phone service, right? The Holy Grail album, he had an app where you had to download to listen to the album. I'm not saying you're wrong. Obviously, Nike is Nike. What I'm saying is the relationships that he was using for his rollouts were direct correlations of streaming and streaming services. Not to mention that he had Tidal and it was coming out under Tidal for the first week exclusively. So that bumped up the streams there too. So it's a little different in that way. That's all I'm saying.
No,
I'm not
this is
disparaging the Nike move. I think the Nike move is great. It's smart.
no. You just said it wasn't enough, Mike.
I
You
think he
said you
still
wanted to
needs
see
to do
more,
more. Yeah.
but you didn't say that when Jay was dropping 444 and doing a Sprint deal. Why? You feel me? Like, why didn't you say that when Jay was doing just a
I'll
Sprint
say
deal?
this. I'll say this because Jay had the exclusivity of Tidal, and I think that him and Beyonce have had the advantage. And we've seen this with Beyonce's recent release, with them not having that exclusivity with Tidal, with him, basically selling his shares to Jack Dorsey. That took a lot of allure away from her new album. When they were able to exclusively have their albums on Tidal, that did a lot for their promotion alone because they knew that, you could only get it here. So that kind of helped out a lot of the work that he needed to do. You know what I'm saying? Because if certain people got Tidal and they're listening to the album and then another person can't listen to the album, like, man, I want to hear this album, it bumps up the numbers.
Can I just tell you something? This is what I mean about how like this conversation is so funny to me. I've never seen this guy go do an ad like this for Nike or do an ad like this with LeBron. Neither has anybody else. And that alone should give you an indicator in like your brain that he's never done anything like that.
You're right.
And so the fact, listen to what I'm saying. He's 30 years in the game. You've never seen him make a move like that. Don't tell me that the numbers don't matter.
No, I agree with you.
So why are people acting like so listen, instead of acknowledging the fact that he's 30 years in the game and he's making the type of move that he's never made before, which is obviously, listen to what I'm saying, garner different traction outside of his core base. Like, you want to know why that might be? Because the core base is not
let him grow.
Thank you. And so the people that are in here saying these things that they are saying think they're part of the solution. And I've been trying to tell you in a nice way, if you love him and you think he's the GOAT, the way that you've been talking is not part of his solution. And if you're the type of fan that supports the artist, I've been telling you, based on the insight that I've been given and based on what I am seeing blatantly happen, has in him doing a Nike ad with LeBron James when he is usually low key. Isn't he usually low key?
Yeah.
Just did a Nike ad with LeBron James. How much more plain insight does his fan base need to see that it's like, oh, go support him because he's actively looking for a new fan base because you're not supporting him to the level that his contemporaries that are considered as great as him get supported traditionally when they drop projects. You don't have to like it. You got to respect it. You got to move forward. I'm not the one in my feelings. It's actually the Nas fans that don't want to grow up and get past Illmatic and It Was Written that are in their feelings. And they need to understand that he's trying to do something different with this stretch of his career. And it's not to be your Illmatic and It Was Written champion. He already did that. You're asking him to do that again at 50? That's disgusting. Nobody asked Mick Jagger to go back and be Mick Jagger at 20.
That's not what I'm asking. This is all I'm saying.
It kind of seems like you are, though, Mike.
No, this is what I'm suggesting.
So clarify.
And I want to clarify. I just think in my head, and I know that whenever Nas posts anything, he posts himself. You know, he gets traction. Not even just with his platform. It'll get on the Shade Room, yada yada. You know, we'll post it. People love it. But you know, it's like, I think just even a simple post like that about the album being on the way. I mean, even when we post the album cover, you know, it went crazy. The traction went crazy. And I think that all I'm saying is the attention span of the people out there. When you don't have MSNBC in your back pocket and willing to go out there and do a whole dissertation on your verse, you know, give the people a little countdown or something where you're at. And I think they're probably going to do something like that. But I'm not criticizing the work that has been done. I'm just saying from an independent standpoint and from a standpoint where, like I said, if we're talking about Jay-Z, I mean, we know that the media he's Beyonce's husband. The media is all on Jay. So it's a little different. It's like, you understand when you got to do a little, I hate to say, when you got to do a little bit more, like.
So that's what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Let's have this conversation respectfully, since you even just forced that part of the conversation. You just said do a little bit more. Mike, Nike ad with LeBron that he never does.
Yeah,
that is the doing more.
I feel that.
That does normally do. And so he already just played his part on the first part of this run. The first part of this run, with him doing an ad campaign that he doesn't normally do around the time that his core fan base knows that he's about to drop music. Like, the average fan may not know that he's about to drop, but his fan base knows he's about to drop, and that fan base has seen that LeBron commercial and that Nike commercial.
Did he post that Nike commercial on his platform?
I'm not totally certain, but I want you to connect some dots for me. It's like, what does that say to you? That sounds like somebody that's trying to do some sort of promotion and push, a promotion and push that's outside of their box. People that promote and push outside of their box, Mike, are either trying to get the people in the box regalvanized or trying to find a new box. And so what I'm saying is that a lot of how KD3 does may determine how the music sounds too, because he can't keep on giving us stuff that's not making sense for him to make it, because he's an independent artist now.
Right.
You know?
Well, I see him promoting
and he'll be 50 next year. And so 50-year-old artists who are multimillionaires like multiple times from doing other things probably don't want to feed a base that's not even making it financially feasible for them to keep on doing it when they can go make millions of dollars other ways. That is part of the reason why you really haven't heard an album from Jay like that, Mike. It's not just that the bars aren't there. Business-wise, it does not make sense for him to do an album.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Jay Short with the super chat says, old Nas fans are low-key hating on the KD series. They're mad it's not a Premier or AZ collabo and not supporting the new stuff. Game says, everyone Coop says no Take a shot. Every time Coop says no, take a shot. Let's see.
Or every time you give a super chat.
LP with the super chat says, Nas still selling more than more relevant artists like Freddie,
That ain't what we're
Griselda,
talking about.
Joey,
No,
Jeezy, NBA
nope.
YoungBoy, and a bunch of others. What more do they want numbers wise? Sounds like he wants a lifetime award.
I just bought up Biggie and Tupac and Jay-Z, and those are the names that you gave me. Like, stop playing yourself. Like, we talking about Nas. Not any disrespect to those guys, but those guys aren't in Nas's pantheon as an MC. So, like, end of discussion with that. That's what I mean about the perspective of it. It's like, oh, well, he's outselling these guys. He's supposed to. He's Nas.
Well,
He's
I
Nas.
mean, it's
No,
a
he's
whole different
Nas.
era,
Like,
though.
like
So
no, like,
I
for
think they're
whatever people
saying
think
that
about Taylor
to
Swift, no, for whatever people think about Taylor Swift, Mike, you understand she's an excellent songwriter and very talented individual.
she does
Very
numbers.
talented in songwriting. Like the numbers that she just did, just an
Proves
indicator
that
of
the
the
numbers are
machine
out
there
there.
is. No, the numbers are stupid. You have to understand, she's extremely talented. You know that her talent has a lot to do with that money. She's a wonderful songwriter and a very talented artist and singer. Like, it's not just the machine. She's talented. And her fan base gets behind her talent every single time, Mike, with fervor.
I think the
With
machine
fervor, they
has
get
something to
behind
do
her
with it.
talent.
I think the machine has something to do with it. It's not like she's an Adele
Mike,
or something. And even with Adele, the machine has something to do with it.
hold on. How much of Adele stuff does Adele write?
She writes most of her stuff, I thought.
Okay, so she's a
If
better
not
singer
all
than
of her
Taylor
stuff. I
Swift.
believe she
Hold
writes
on, do you
all of her
find her to
stuff.
be a more versatile songwriter than Taylor Swift?
Hmm?
Is she a more versatile songwriter than Taylor Swift?
I think she's a better songwriter than Taylor Swift.
I didn't
in my
ask you that. I
opinion.
asked you if she was more versatile.
I don't
Because
I
Jay's
can't
not better,
really
but the thing people always used to say about Jay versus Nas is, well, he's more versatile, right?
I can't really speak to Taylor Swift's versatility. She sounds the same to me.
I mean, as a writer, Mike, I'm talking about the things she writes as a writer. That's why I said her versatility as a writer.
Again, I guess I wouldn't be the person to ask on that.
Okay, no, and that's fair.
Yeah.
You know, no, that's fair.
Melvin Wright with the super chat says, "Look at how many followers Hit Boy has compared to Nas, and repeat the stupid comment again."
What?
Let's see. LP with the super chat says he's responsible for the perception of not caring about the numbers. Coop, you be quick to say we're not listening, and you completely take comments out of context.
I don't. That's that. You want to know what? That's a total falsehood, Mike. You want to know why it's a total falsehood? Because in the midst of his prime, I'm going to list off some of the lead singles that got made. If I Rule the World, Street Dreams, Hate Me Now, You Owe Me, Nostradamus, Uchiwali.
Yeah.
Oh no. Been trying to sell records and a lot of records
I
for a
can.
minute. Stop playing with me. I can. Yeah, stop playing with me. That's what I'm saying. I'm bringing up records from the first part of his run when he was trying to make hit records like that.
Even the record
And
with
the
his
fans
father.
look, and the fans didn't get it behind it all the way then. That's why now he's actually making the quality music that we want to make without trying to make those hit singles. Oh, well, we need to get it behind it this time because we were like, well, I don't want to hear If I Rule the World and Hate Me Now and You Owe Me, which is fair. But now he's making Store Run and Nobody and 4016 Building and Ugly. And so you need to jump your ass behind that.
Nobody would have been such a hit in 2002.
Nobody would have been epic. Nobody would have went platinum in his prime. Like the song, the single.
I agree with you. Michael Williams with the super chat says Jay doesn't need to promote. He's way bigger than Nas. The media literally covers the God Did verse more than all of Nas's hit boy albums. Come on.
We know that. We know that. That's why the people who were part of Nas's fan base need to double down, like I said.
But again,
this is literally my
all
point.
I'm saying,
This is literally my point.
But
you know these things.
I think
you know the media doesn't give him a fair shake. You know there are other artists that are comparable to him have bigger followings.
But
and I pull up and ask you to learn how to stream better and double down. And I'm a hater. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's like I don't understand anymore.
That's my point too. That's why I feel like, and no slight to what they're doing, I feel like he needs to double down too because like you said, those things are out there.
Magic was the double down. What
I'm
part of that
talking
are
about
people
from a
not missing?
promotional standpoint because
Oh, he's an artist. That's not his job.
I
That's what I
got you.
keep telling you.
I got you. Our man with the
Like
super
he's doing
chat.
his job. No, he's an artist, Mike. Musically, he's done his job. Is KD1 and KD2 and Magic good enough artist wise?
Yeah, and I told you,
He's done
I
his
think
job.
the
No,
biggest
Prince said that to
promotional.
Larry King. No, I'll never forget when Prince said that to Larry King. He's like, my job is to make the music.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like, well, this is Prince saying it's his job to make the music. It's like, well, how you think the music sound?
Yeah. Well, again, like
Right.
I said, I think KD3's biggest selling point is Magic. Our man with the super chat says, "Peace, Coop. In all due respect, KD3 was not playing in the background of the commercial. That would have been a great look for Nas."
I cannot
Because
control these.
the
But you
music
have to
has,
understand. You have to understand. When I talk to people, Mike, I talk to a lot of people. I've pulled up with a lot of information, like over these last couple of years, that came from various people. This was just the first time that somebody really hit me. It's like, no, no, no. This is a direct line to something. You have to understand something. I can only take the information that I'm being given and disseminate it to the best of my ability, like, and tell you how my business mind works. So let me tell you how a source works in journalism. A source is never going to tell you something like straight up and down, flat out. Source is gonna let you infer, defer, and feed you shit. Like the solid shit they will feed you is the stuff that you're not supposed to say, Mike. That's how you know not to say it. Like the real hardcore information, that's that only built for Cuban link shit. That stay behind closed doors. The rest of it is left up for you to infer. I have a degree in business and organizational leadership. I've been in this music business, in this industry, in some sort of shape, form, or fashion on multiple occasions. I've watched his career. His highest selling album is It Was Written, which I think like hit 3 million when I Am dropped. So really originally only did 2.5. That's his biggest selling album. Okay. Now go look at Biggie's biggest selling album. Go look at Tupac's biggest selling album. Go look at Jay's biggest selling album. Like, no, that's a real viable issue.
well, let's do this. Let's compare it, and I think that's why they brought up Freddie and all of that stuff. We got to compare it to the landscape today because people aren't going to be selling the records that they sold in the '90s anyway. Like that, that's just not going to happen.
Yeah, no. But I'm saying, listen to what I'm saying. In relationship to his contemporaries that he was originally compared to, they all at some point did astronomical numbers, okay? And he's not necessarily, I don't think what I'm getting from the sources that they're not asking for astronomical numbers. They're asking for the numbers to be respectable.
Right.
That's indicative of the music that's being made, Mike. And I've said this multiple times. And so people need to stop coming at me and making it seem like I'm asking for people to make him go diamond. I've literally said multiple times, I'll say it again. The numbers just need to reflect the quality of the music for today's times, which means he clearly made the two best albums last year. Now, the word that I've been getting, Mike, and the way that I feel about it, if Soul sold separately as our album of the year, KD3 is succinctly better. Okay?
Okay.
And if it's succinctly better, quality-wise, there's nothing wrong with it, with it doing better succinctly, numbers-wise. Now, is there?
Right. And I agree with the fact that...
And all this conversation is about, so people maybe need to stop inflating and conflating the things that I'm saying and just listen to what I'm saying and stop trying to like run further with it. It's like...
I think we're all trying to get to the same place, right? We all want KD3 to do well. I think that everybody just has a different perspective on how and what needs to be done.
This is what I mean. So part of the problem is that, well, people don't know how because his main following that made him a multi-platinum rapper in the late 90s, in the mid 90s, well, we're all in our 40s and 50s now, aren't we?
Well, let me ask you this, though.
We might not know how to stream his music properly because I'm getting privy to some things that I didn't know, Mike, and we work in this industry.
Yeah. Well, let me say this. I think that, and let's just say hypothetically, not saying this is going to happen because we know media is media or whatever, but if Nas was to appear on Good Morning America with Michael Strahan on the morning that the album comes out, I'm willing to bet that a lot of people who weren't aware that he dropped a new album who are fans of his, who aren't really in touch with what's going on in music, would be, would go check it out. You know what I'm saying? I think that the issue isn't. I think the issue is more of an awareness as opposed to a lack of dedicated fans. And like you said, I think much of his fan base is 40 and up, and they might not be as in tune as the people who are in here in this room right now, and the ones of us who actually follow what's going on. You know what I mean? Whereas when it comes to the
No, I
kids,
mean, I'm
they
gonna be
live this
honest with
shit.
you.
You know what
So,
I
so,
mean?
so people keep acting like people are like, you know, Coop, you got to stop and doing this, that, and the other. Like, I'm just gonna tell y'all this once. Like, his people already pulled up in the chat and audited y'all. I'm not the problem. Like, trust me. It's like some of y'all are like
I mean,
too
nobody's the
entitled to y'all opinions,
problem.
and no. I love the fact that you're entitled to your opinions here because that is why we created this space and this forum is to share these things. But I'm gonna tell y'all feelings aren't facts, and I'm telling you things that I've factually been told, and I'm actually trying to share with you factual ways to help. And it seems you all think I'm asking you to support more, and I'm asking you to Mike, I'm asking people to update their formulas with the times because as somebody that's a fan of his,
Yeah.
from talking to the source, the main thing that I realized that has a fan of his, I haven't really been streaming his music and supporting him like I thought I was. A
Right.
lot of you think that you're supporting him and you're just playing his music and making you feel good. And all I'm asking you to do for the way that people have pulled up in here for the past 2 years and talked about him is to pay it back by actually learning how to stream the music properly. That's not me chastising fans when I come in here. That's you not listening to what I'm saying. I'm saying y'all pulled up in here calling him the GOAT because we were talking about the media smear campaign and the yellow journalism that is blatantly going on against the man. And a
It's
lot of you
probably gonna
follow
go
us
on
because
again
of
too.
that. And we appreciate it. Well, guess what? His team got wind of that and knows that too. So they know we exist because y'all exist and y'all supported us for supporting him. Now, because we did that and because y'all did that and we did this together, they reached out to me because they know I'm ahead, Mike, and that I'm honest about what the situation really is that they feel like is going on when the numbers don't happen. And it's not that the fans don't support, it's that they don't know how to support. That's an education and information thing. And it seems like every time I try to pull up in here and be informative, people think I'm being combative. I'm not being combative. I'm trying to tell you that the way that you running it and the way you thinking about it isn't working for the guy that you claim to be supporting. And so maybe you need to get with this new God flow and get with this program. If you don't want to, that's fine. But when KD3 drops, Mike, going and just downloading it off of Spotify and Apple Music and playing it in your car that week and then forgetting about it is not about to serve him any justice for the way that you all pull up in the chat. Nas's people pulled up on me about how the people pulled up on us, not the other way around. Y'all are the reason that I got the source. That's why the source was borderline, and I could feel her tone. Like, only reason she even talking to me is because of the people. You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she reached out to me about trying to help the people get educated and informed. And so for any of you that have been saying this, if you're not actively streaming his music, I just don't want to hear it because here's the thing, Mike, I just learned in the last 2 weeks how to actively and properly stream his music,
I'm
which
looking
is what I've
forward to
been
the
doing
album.
since then. Exactly.
I'm looking
And
forward to
so
it. We literally are like a week and a half off. So yeah, next week we're really gonna be counting down to it. I'm sure we're gonna have a song by then. Michael Williams with the super chat. Let me get to some of
No,
these.
no,
So
hold on 1 second, Mike. I want you to stop. LP, no, I've been watching your comments, fam. I said all of this last week while you were too busy typing in the comments to hear me speak, fam. I said the same thing last week. You just too busy typing too much, fam. Like, I love you, but stop talking so much, fam, and maybe listen to me. I might have something to offer you. Like we can't all be right, Mike. Like, I don't even know how this shit works all the way because it just got educated and informed on it. So I'm learning, I'm bringing it back to the people. And y'all like, nah, that ain't it, Coop. I'm like, Well, pretty certain it's it, seeing how I was in the same box that y'all was in, and I just changed everything. Because guess what? I'm a fan of Fam and want to see him win the right way, not my way. I want to see him. I'm gonna say that again. I want to see him win the right way and not my way. And so the way that I stream music just changed. How about that?
Michael Williams with the super chat says, Coop, how would Nas having a 10-second spot in a Nike commercial attract new fans? Potential new fans wouldn't even necessarily know that that was Nas.
I have one quick answer for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly where you try to galvanize the new fan base, because the people who don't know who Nas is are going to want to know and literally Google. Listen, Google, which affects the streams, Google, who is the guy in the Nike commercial next to LeBron James?
Well, let me say this. I
Right.
think it's just my personal opinion. Now, let me finish.
Don't give me a rebuttal before we actually get some clarity on what I said. You feel me? Like, as soon as I made a comment, I got a rebuttal from you too. That's what I mean. Like Mike, you've been contributing a little bit to what I'm talking about.
I'm
Because as
just
soon as I
trying to
made
play
the
devil's
comment,
advocate.
you have a devil's advocate rebuttal. And it's like, no, Googling that commercial helps his cause with people who don't know who it is, because that's what people do. Because LeBron James and Nike create that type of fandom, do they not? Who's the guy next to LeBron? Exactly.
Well, what I was gonna say is, I think that having a song in that background, and we were talking about Shazam and its plays, I think that Shazam level of discovering, and not to say that that's not coming, because again, the album is still a week and a half away. I think that, music is always going to be that selling point. You know what I'm saying? Like, new music is one of those things where, I'm going to say it like this. I think most people are going to be like, what song is that? Let me find out what song that is, as opposed to who is that person. I think people are more prone to, I know I do it. When I hear a movie, when I see a movie on TV and I hear a song that I like and I've never heard, I'm Shazamming it. Or if I'm out somewhere and I hear a song that's dope and I don't know what it is, I'm Shazamming it. So I think that the power of commercials, music kind of, it helps for music to be involved as well. Especially, like you said, it's Nike and you're standing next to LeBron James.
Now, Mike, let's talk about a couple things right quick, and then we probably got to slide out of here.
Yeah.
Now, listen to this. First of all, and this is just the best I know, I believe the track selection for KD was still being selected while this commercial was being shot.
Okay.
And so that is some of that. Secondly, I actually agree with you, Mike. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he's perfect. I'm not saying that I'm right. I can't be right because I don't know anything. I'm actually just a conductor for information right now. So there is no right or wrong for me. I can only tell you what I see.
Same
and how
here.
And how these conversations have literally altered the way that I'm doing things as a 41-year-old man that claims to be a lover of music and certain artists. Because I've thought about Outkast and Goody Mob and how I've been playing their music all these years. I've thought about Tupac and Big and how I've been playing their music all these years. It's not just Nas that I want to support.
Yeah.
Okay? You feel me? With the streams properly. Okay? This is not a Nas thing. This is not a Coop trying to be right thing. It's about an education and an information thing. I got too much of Madman and LP up in here talking and not listening to me and thinking that, to be honest with you. And I'm only calling you two out because I respect you guys and I like you guys. But just stop with the rhetoric. It's like the same thing with Talib. It's like, fam, don't let your opinions override the cause. Y'all be pulling up in here calling him the GOAT. All I'm telling you is that, well, then give him GOAT treatment. Yeah. If he's the GOAT, learn how to stream the music properly, because I sat back and thought to myself, even think about this, Mike, Prodigy, somebody like P, he has a daughter, Santana Fox, who's an artist. I don't know if he had a will or what his shit looks like, but I really thought to myself today when she was posting pictures of him, I was like, man, I've been streaming P all wrong, and that money could be putting money in Santana's pocket to help her career grow.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
That's not about Nas. This is about education and information. Nas is just the crux of it, because he's been the crux of some of our growth because of how we've covered his media slander. And the fact that people are pulling up and trying to debate with me and argue with me as if I have some sort of agenda or like I'm being paid something is absurd, Mike. And people just need to stop and chill out. Like, we love how opinionated and thoughtful y'all are, but it's not about right It's not about wrong. It's about being educated and informed. So anybody talking about Coop being right, and then talking about Coop being wrong, and talking about the team being right, anybody talking about the team being wrong, well, you're missing the message, which is education and information. Do you know how to stream properly? I bought this up last week, LP, for minutes at a time when you weren't listening while I was watching you talk in the chat. That's ridiculous, fam. Now come on.
Daryl Baxter with the super chat says, "Dude, y'all, we need to understand that there are a few people in our demo that listen to new music. People our age aren't checking for new music." Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I was saying as far as I think they would if they knew. Like the Osley Brothers put out an album a couple weeks back. I mean Beyonce's on the album. Takeoff and Quavo are on the album. 2 Chainz is on the album. But if I wasn't a person that just always sought out new music, I would have never known it. And I know my parents don't know it. And they're of the Osley Brothers generation. And it's a good album too. It's just it gets I think as you get older, and that's why we see the people who really do a lot of numbers are younger artists, because as you get older, fan base gets older and there's a lot less into what's new that's coming out. And we're also set, I think this is just human nature, we're also set on the shit that we grew up on. You know what I'm saying? Like, for the most part.
Like, I'm going to tell y'all just like this. It's like, when I'm telling y'all that y'all tripping, oh, that ain't me telling you that you tripping. So you just
Let's
keep
not
on thinking that
focus
you're
on
right.
the
You feel what I'm
negative,
saying?
though.
It's like, I don't tell our following or our base that they tripping. Like, but I'll tell you what people be telling me when they be pulling up in our comments. Mike, famous people be in here and like be hit. Like, that's what I'm saying. Is it's like, no. I know from how other famous people, a couple other people have hit me outside of Nas's camp about how people were talking in the chant while all this has been going on. It's like, oh no, it's like, oh, these people are hardcore about it. They're like, but they're just not listening to you because they want to be right. It's like, no, Miss Mo, y'all do want to be right. If you're turned off by the rollout, it's just because you're not listening, because you don't want to alter the way that you want to follow Nas. It's like, well, he just made, and this is what I mean, he made magic for us. Like when the source told me that, that's when I was like, oh no, now you have my attention, because it felt like he made that for us. And when I got confirmation that that was made for the core fan base and following, what rapper this late into their career does that for a fan base?
Nah, that's fair.
Like, that's super special. Like, I hold Magic even higher off the intent now. The intent was to give us an Illmatic-like product, and that was confirmed by the source. It's like, no, I'm going to learn how to stream differently now. Because, Mike, even when I was talking to her, it was like one of those things. It's like, oh, I stream, I download, Spotify do playlists. Mike, I'm going to tell you a conversation that I want to have with her. I don't know how our Spotify playlists help artists, and if those things that get played on our Spotify playlist help with the artist streams. Because if so, I need to get back on my playlist game, maybe, because I want to help all the artists win that make great music. Like Pray for Paris, Mike, like Alfredo. Like, I want all these things to have great streams. I didn't know. Stop pulling up in here telling me no when you the same damn age as me and moving the same way that I move. No, you didn't know. And no, I'm not wrong, because I'm not right. I'm just giving you information.
Chris Daughtery with the super chat says, "Agree, Coop. Grammys and the NYSM tour, Primo songs. Jay do one verse, global impact immediately. Enough." Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I think that
y'all bugging, man. Like, this is what I'm saying. You understand that, and I'm going to say this, and then we need to go.
He said enough said. I meant okay. Gotcha, Chris.
Jay-Z has media channels that every time he comes out, they roll out and support him and talk about him. And you understand, none of his fan base does any of this. You understand that? And that's part of the problem. And I know that his camp sees that too. It's like, Jay don't deal with any of these issues from the base. When media entities come out with sources and words from the camp about stuff, it gets taken as gospel, and then you run.
Well, I think the thing is too, man, and it's like, I think that certain artists set a tone.
Love me more meticulous. Like, I know that you managed an artist, Love Me More Meticulous. You've told me like 17 times.
Cool. Let me finish.
I managed an artist too. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, you managing an artist.
Can I finish? Come on, man. Can I finish? I think that, certain artists set a tone with their fan base. I think we saw this even with like Common. Like, I remember when Common made Electric Circus. And I didn't think Electric Circus was as bad as people made it seem. I thought he was experimenting on some things. And I think that when you got acts like Outkast who continuously experimented, they set that tone for their audience early. I think Jay, Biggie, and those guys set a tone for their audience early that they were going to constantly change. Even when they did duds or whatever, I'm just going to constantly do these things. And that's why their audience gives them the room for that. I think that also when Nas is in that chamber that we love so much, and I can speak for myself, I think that we hold him so high for that. Anything that's outside of that that comes short, the fan base gets really animated about. And I just think that's, where a lot of this is coming from. A lot of this is on both sides is coming from a place of love.
I've never seen a fan base do this, Mike. I mean, like for me, I've just been taken back. I've never seen a fan base do this. It's like we don't agree.
It's unique. It's very unique.
It's unique. That's what I mean. Is like these are the same people that have been pulling up and calling him the GOAT. That's like, oh, we don't agree with any of this. We don't like him. It's because of how Nas did things. It's like, no, he never did shit like that. It's like he made you owe me. Did you ever think with R. Kelly and Hate Me Now?
Well, I mean,
and If I Ruled the World and Street Dreams and the Street Dreams remix. This has always been a goal. People keep trying to act like it wasn't a goal. You get what I'm saying? That's why I'm bringing up that time when he was making those records. Those records are succinctly built for radio to do what? Sell.
To sell records. I mean, I think that, again, this is about how incredible he is because we don't even do this to Snoop. And Snoop's great. Nobody hangs Doggy Style over Snoop's head like, yo, man, if it ain't Doggy Style, I'm not listening to it. And I don't know if that's a lot of media work that's been done on Nas over the years and continuously bringing up Illmatic, and even when it doesn't need to be brought up, maybe that has something to do with it. But, I think that us acknowledging all these things is ways to move past it. Blue Collar Hustler with the super chat says, Nas did post the KD3 cover and the release date. 232,000, was it 232,000 people liked it. That's at least 232,000 that should be sold. Let's not play here. Nas does do promo. Okay.